Bring it.
Don't say that.
All right, we are back. And we kind of ended our last session right at the end of an escape. We're all rushing out of the little tunnel connected to a room with a pile of gold as well as some biomass. And we're being chased by some giant mushrooms and an amorphous ghoulish creature of sorts. Couldn't all fit in there, and so we opted to get out for now. And as we were just exiting the tunnel, we kind of keep an intent look back in the direction in which we came. Nothing seemed to follow us out. We just kind of pick up just outside of that particular tunnel. Now trying to figure out what we're going to do.
I had an idea. It's stupid, but it's an idea. I'm thinking, assuming that thing didn't follow us out, like maybe if everything just kind of went back to normal in the cave. It likes shiny things. Why don't we lead a trail of shiny things outside of the thing so we can draw it out?
It's worth a try.
Do we have time to wait for him to decide to come out?
I don't know. It should take some time. But if the key's in there, I mean, we could kind of scope out the rest of the place. Maybe give it time to forget about us.
Yeah. I don't know if we need the key or not. We should just move on, and when we do, we can come back.
Told you guys there were bugs.
You weren't wrong.
That bear will last for 8 hours, by the way. So
Okay. The Spectral Guardian?
Spirit Guardian, I
Spirit Guardian.
think. I got
I'll collect.
Spirit Guardians.
Guardian of Faith. Spirit Guardians are the ones that were all around me. Guardian of Faith. Guardian of Faith is sort of like a watch guard. Anyway, 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
I'll collect the bottles and things that we had set up here as a trap because I figure a monster made of mist probably isn't going to trip a wire.
Okay. We collect the noise trap, so to speak.
Yeah, but otherwise I'll follow you guys where you want to go.
Well, I'm gonna leave a gold coin. Centered right there. Just gonna leave it on the ground.
Okay.
That is, if we're going to explore the rest of this place before we try something?
So that's all up to you folks.
Before we go, I'm going to take a couple minutes and lay out some of these robes I picked up. And I'm going to use my Nike robes. My scrolly grease and grease these robes and then tear them up and make some torches.
Okay.
Or rewrap my torches and stuff.
Saying for the handle, you're going to use, a couple of torches that from along the way that burnt out, but
Mm-hmm.
and how many of those do you have?
I have 2.
2 burnt out torches?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have 2 fresh torches.
Okay. Yeah, I think that seems reasonable.
I'll have spare robes, but I'll take and use the oiled stuff later. In there, light a torch, and now I can see. I'm ready to go.
You all ready? Bijou?
Okay.
Is this a doorway here? I forgot.
It's the one with the symbol of Asmodeus on it.
Oh, yeah. Good. Fine doorway. This is probably the ritual room they were talking about, I suppose.
The cultists that had turned to our side said that we needed to open the bone door before we could get in this one, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. They're saying that that after something had happened, and then that door had sealed with some kind of wall, some kind of actual force barrier preventing them entry. And then they trying to get back into the wall of bone, or through the door of bone, in order to, get in contact with someone or see if there's a way to do it. But then they've lost the key.
So they said there was some sort of force barrier on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just reach out with my hand and see if I can touch it or if it repels me?
So when you actually try to touch it with your hand on the actual door itself, it does repel you, but very close. So without knowing, maybe that's precisely what it was. It's when you go to push on the door, it pushes back just like you touch the door. But when you kind of look at it, you see that your fingers are really less than half an inch. Close. They're really close to the door, but not actually touching the door.
Okay. I'm gonna take my rod of alertness out,
Okay.
just so I have it in my hand. My detect magic would have worn off by now, I guess, right?
Yeah, we have.
Can I recast that?
Mm-hmm. With the rod, it is. I mean, you just gain that ability while it's held. You gain the ability to cast that at will.
So I imagine I'm seeing some sort of crazy aura on this door right now.
Go ahead and roll a perception check. So when you look at that symbol of Asmodeus that's emblazoned on the actual door itself, the outline of everything gives off a very deep red hue as far as aura goes. There should be, I mean, limited experience, but the way you've seen magical things have auras, there should be something irradiating from whatever your hand ran into, but you don't see any that barrier doesn't seem to be giving off an aura.
I kind of step back from it a little bit, just kind of recoiling from the deep red aura on the symbol itself. But I kind of stand there, just my head tilted a little bit, kind of studying it, trying to figure out why I don't see anything regarding the barrier. Just kind of puzzled.
You okay, Izzy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how any of this works. But I feel like I should be seeing something else here, and I'm not. And I kind of, not touching it, but I kind of trace around the symbol and say, like, this is all lit up, but I can't get close enough to actually touch the door, and I feel like there should be something there that shows me why, but there's nothing.
That does seem peculiar. Maybe it's something you don't see with your eyes, but you see with your heart.
I raise an eyebrow at her and then kind of shrug, like, you know more about this than I do, and I kind of close my eyes and
But it could be nothing to
Nope.
see.
Nope, I don't see or feel anything, I guess.
Then I guess we should keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna, sidle up along the wall and try and take a peek around the corner. Car's too fast for me, though.
Just derping around in the back.
You kind of come up to the edge and you hear a strong rustling of water. You remember the guards telling you about there being a water room where a kind of fountain sprouted out of a hole in the wall and it just filled the cavern with water here in the middle of the desert. You also hear a voice in the distance, low and rhythmic. Definitely in a chanting kind of sense.
They had said there was a door on the other side of the water room that they weren't allowed in. Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
This day's inn is very full. I just try to peek around a little bit more, see more in a couple blocks.
Quite dark tunnel that this one looks somewhat more natural than what is this bored hallway that we are in, but definitely not nearly as natural and jagged as like the little crack and crevice that the others squeezed through a little bit earlier. Seems like this may have been actually something started natural that then got shipped out to a proper width.
Just look over to Izzy. Yeah. You want to sneak down?
Sure. So I'll head in trying to stay tight to the wall.
Guidance. I'll give you guidance as you go through. +4 ability
I
check.
am staying back here. Did not shed light to give you away.
You hear the rush of water kind of echo through this little tunnel pretty loudly at this point. As you kind of make your way into the tunnel, it kind of reverberates back and forth off the wall. You can feel that muffles some of your sound, even as you creep up along the edge, making your attempts to be sneaky even more effective than they would be otherwise. But you do hear, beyond this pretty loud rush of water coming out of probably that hole in the wall they were talking about. You do hear the rhythmic chanting.
I'll just come up to where it starts to get fairly wide and see what I can see from here.
And one second. As you kind of creep around the edge, you see a large pool has begun to form in the back corner of the cave, standing in right at the water's edge. You see a robed figure directly out in front of him. You see a rod that is floating in the air, and you can see chanting going on as you see kind of a form of energy coming off of the water and channeling into the rod.
Just the one guy?
Just the one guy, yeah. Look at it a little bit. The rod is, being suspended in mid-air directly in front of him. As that energy is going in, it's giving off a slight radiating glow.
And he's wearing the same sort of cultist robes, or?
No, these look a little finer in that regard, a little more flowing and ornate than the cultist robes. Kind of like a deep purple and with some small embroidery across them.
Can I still see Car from here?
Car's kind of just around the edge. I mean, like you might see just like a flap of a cloak or a boot sticking around the edge of the corner. But for the most part, he's kind of out. For the most part, out of line of sight.
I would have been trying to kind of keep up with the progress.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm basically going to assume he's still watching me. I'm going to flash my hand signal that I'm going in, and I'll draw. I'll draw my cutlass. So I have the rod in one hand, the cutlass in the other, and I'm going to dash in and shank this guy in the back.
All right. I'm gonna need everyone to roll initiative then.
I rolled twice because I have initiative with the rod,
That's right.
or advantage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you're up first.
Is guidance for skill checks only?
Skill. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Swashbuckler means I can use my sneak attack here.
That's correct. As you dash across the room and stab him in the back, you see his chanting fades, and he kind of turns and he glares at you. You're not supposed to be here yet.
Oh, sorry to disrupt your plans. I'm gonna spin away a little bit. And then I think that's all the things I can do.
Kind of right at the end of your turn, you notice with the channeling stop, you can see that he kind of makes a quick gesture, and the rod itself, that glowing energy kind of bursts with a bit of brightness for just a faint moment. And as it does, the water itself begins to take form as two large water elementals form up out of the water itself.
Can we hear this from where I'm at?
Hear what?
Like their conversation or the water movement?
I mean, you've heard nothing but water movement since here at the edge. Like, you can't hardly hear anything across that, like where the tunnel narrows. The echo is insane. That's what I was saying. Her stealth earlier was amplified greatly because you can't really hear anything over the echoes. Just at the edge, you could hear the chanting, but you couldn't hear the words.
When I'm not sure if I would have been allowed to do it yet, but when she kind of flagged to me that she was going, I would have flagged something to Izzy and Steen.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying it's go time.
You can see the water elemental move to form around you, slamming into you with a massive wave of force, and then attempting to kind of consume you.
So I'm like inside this now, or?
Yeah, so it has formed, like, it kind of fluidly came over, slamming into you from like two sides as it enveloped you, and then now you're just kind of inside of it. As you take a deep gasping breath right as the water surrounds and effectively consumes you. Tries to anyway. There was supposed to be more of you. I have a feeling there are. We wouldn't want them joining the fray. You see him begin giving off arcane incantations as right in entryway to the door, a bunch of black tentacles spring from the ground, squirming around. Foolish of you to rush in by yourself, especially when you know not what you face. A lesson most only have to learn once.
Gonna run up here and what? Torches are 60 feet of light, or 30 feet of light and 30 feet of dim light, right?
Yeah, so as you come into this hallway, you see a swarm of these black tentacles just writhing around that reach from the ground nearly to the ceiling as they are moving around very erratically in this. I mean, it's like a thick brush or thick forest of these animated tentacles.
I'm gonna dash forward.
As you're kind of now basically in the undertow of what feels like a pretty hefty wave as you're kind of being knocked around from the inside. A brief moment goes by as you kind of feel like you've reached the surface, and you take a quick gasp of breath as the water parts way for just a moment, and as it does, some other water from the side slams into you. water slamming into you seems to then kind of close that small gap in the side where you were able to grab your breath as you're now feeling again enveloped by water.
Okay, these tentacles on the ground.
Mhm.
Would I be able to run along the wall and not touch the tentacles? Do my shinobi thing?
Very unlikely. I mean, there are small gaps between them and around, but it basically covers the entirety of that space. I mean, from a game.
Oh, I'm
mechanic
not
standpoint-
talking to like run around them. I'm talking about actually like run on the wall.
I know. I mean, they stretch, like, from a game mechanic standpoint, they stretch literally from wall to wall and actually beyond the edge of the wall, as far as the area of effect of that spell. I mean, you can run. You can run on the wall, but
yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and do that.
Okay. As you hit the edge of the spell's area of effect, I'll need you to make a dexterity saving throw. As you kind of run along the edge of the wall, you kind of begin building up a ton of speed and then just start literally running on the edge of the wall. Doing so, you're able to dodge and dive around several of the tentacles as they are in their current positions. They actually lash out at you as you try to move by, trying to grapple and grab onto you. Your quick action, though, is enough to thwart them as you are able to fend off their attacks.
I'm gonna take my bonus dodge, or not dodge, dash.
Okay, yeah. So as you come through the other side of these tentacles that are writhing around crazily, your vision opens up where they effectively obscure vision beyond them, and you see the two animated forms of water. And at first you don't see Izzy at all, and then just a brief moment as you see kind of like a hand stick out from around, through the inside of the leftmost water elemental, as you see that Izzy is in fact encapsulated inside of the water elemental.
Okay, nope, can't relay that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go for Captain Douchewaffle.
Okay.
Okay, that's one.
And so as you approach him, you do see that rod that was, suspended in midair behind him, with some whiffs of energy still kind of pulling from the pool below, as it kind of only gives off a faint radiance to it as far as illumination is concerned.
Okay, well, that was unexpected. But okay. Let's do the thing the casters hate.
Mm-hmm.
Casters hate him.
He's going to choose to make that save.
Of course I roll fucking less. All right. Okay. Is about all the things I can do.
You did hit him for damage, though. Let me check concentration on that. Just trying to get to it. Don't have that in there. Okay, so he does make that save. Although you can tell this finger wagger looks particularly frail. You've punched a handful of finger waggers at this point. This one, the grunt, the pain, the reaction, doesn't seem like this one has seen nearly the abuse or combat that some of the others have. Can't really take a punch.
Okay.
Dash. And can I see through this at all?
It's mostly obscuring. Like you can see little bits of, because there's this tiny faint, like you have the dark vision, and there's also the faint radiance from the rod that's back there. You can see like little bits of, like almost like under a doorway light, peeking through every bit. But for the most part, it is a thick swarm.
Okay, I'll just dash and wait for the next turn.
You wait outside of it. It says if you can go further with a dash, I'm pretty sure, right?
I think I moved about 12.
Okay, no, I guess that is 60. I guess that is... okay, no, I guess that is about it. For some reason, I was just eyeballing it. It didn't look like 60 feet, but it actually... It's actually pretty much there. Oh, and you go first, so...
Well, okay.
You're charged with energy as you...
Can I just take a swing at this fucking thing? That's what I want to do.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. There are... I mean, like I said, it is a writhing mass of just many, many, many tentacles, and you saw them all lash out at Lumo as he tried to walk by, running along the wall. They were all trying to grapple and hold on to him. Go ahead and just make an attack roll out into the check. Okay, so you swipe into it. Go ahead and roll a damage roll. Directly in front of you, there is, a big swarm of these tentacles, and you swipe through with the lightning from your sword radiating out, crackling into it as you clean swipe several of these tentacles just straight in half. As they fall to the ground, they dissolve into mist, and from the stumps, they begin to regrow.
Well, that's just cheating. I still got some movement left. Fuck it. I'm going to just try to power through it.
Okay.
Just tell me how far I go.
A dex saving throw as soon as that on that square when you step in, trying to wiggle through and avoid being held onto by these tentacles. That's not gonna do it. So as you kind of wiggle your way through,
Wait, I didn't add the +0.
Oh wait, the +0. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. As you begin to wiggle your way through the actual tentacles themselves, you make your way in. You dodge the first couple as you can take like another half step forward. But by that time, tentacles have actually grabbed around each of your wrists, and one has kind of come in around your waist, and you are restrained. Now you can still perform actions and things like that. You just have no restraint. Means you have no movement.
I use my action to attack, and if I can't really see any farther, then that's pretty much it.
Okay. Izzy. You can fight against the water with your movement. This is some pretty it's like swimming in some super crazy current. So you can get 1/4 movement, but you could step out of it if you wanted to. It doesn't take an action to do it. They're not restraining you. They're not holding you. But the force is just there and keeping you from moving very quickly.
Okay, that was going to be my question. Because being underwater is nowhere I haven't been before. And I do have a swim speed with my mariner's leather armor. I wasn't sure if that would affect it at all either.
Okay, that's true. Okay, I had forgotten about the swim speed. Roll an athletics check to go with that, because it's not just regular swimming. This would be this would actually be a little bit more than that. So I'll say the to kind of get your way out for you particularly, and with your armor, it's not nearly that 1/4 speed restriction that would normally apply. Still takes some effort, and so I'm going to say it takes just 5 extra feet just on the first step out for you.
Okay. So what happens there is I stash my rod into my belt. I've heard Lumo's voice in my head, and just kind of reminds me, first thing when you're underwater, just don't panic. So I put the rod away and use my free hand just to kind of breaststroke through this creature and come out the other side, and I'm going to disengage.
Okay, use your bonus action disengage. Confirm.
Mm-hmm. And run up to this guy and try to stab him with my cutlass, just dripping wet.
Okay, yeah, get him.
I'm gonna take my advantage, I think, on this one, just for funsies.
Okay. Okay.
Murdering finger waggers is the best funsies.
So your hit lands, and with that, he literally just crumples before you. As you kind of pierce him right in the throat.
I just glance over at Lumo and then back towards the water elementals and towards the entrance, and just sort of take stock of what's going on now.
When these vines disappear, never mind.
Yeah, those disappear, but the water elementals do not.
You hear Carr just cursing and sort of thrashing around a little bit.
Nice. That's nice.
So Car's still alive, that's good.
I'm just happy not to go through the tentacles.
Yeah.
Whereabouts is the rod of floatiness?
He who
So
controls.
as his corpse falls, you'll see that energy drains directly from him into the rod, and it begins to pulse brightly for just a moment before the illumination itself just stops. I mean, it just stops, and then the rod falls into the water with the splash.
I want to get that rod.
Okay, so as you step off, it is a straight cliff right on the edge, and you can't swim.
He may not have known that was a cliff because it just looks like there's just
Looks
water.
like a pool.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see it, the bottom of it, so you wouldn't have known either way. All you see is a pool of water that you can't see beyond its surface. Or not far beyond its surface, especially since there's no source of illumination.
Oh, so it's not a free fall into the water. It's just this is a deep pool.
Well, yeah. I mean, so there's no source of light in here once that went out, so he can't see at all. And he takes a step off into the water, and then he just starts to fall down in the water because he's never been in water before.
Okay, I'm gonna take a swig of my potion of water breathing. At least try my best to.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of thrashing around in the water itself. Do you keep that potion at on your actual belt, like you do your healing potions?
Yeah. Like I actually took it out of my. When did I take it out? I consciously took it out of the bag of holding, last week or the week before.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a dexterity check. Let's see how your maneuverings are in water. Yeah, so, I mean, with enough focus and practice on controlling your body, you can do that, but being submerged in water is a completely new experience for you. But so, you're able to drink your potion of water breathing.
Would there be a check? Okay, so the first time I learned to swim, because someone pushed me off into the water on the deep end of a swimming pool.
Rude.
And then I naturally figured it out. Would there be some sort of check to see if what his thrashing would maybe, he just happened to figure it out?
I'm not so much thrashing as I'm just kind of going,
I think that there are some other factors that go in that. I think on his next turn, I'll let him see if he can figure out how to float or any of these other things. Like, the first time you were tossed in water, you'd been in a bathtub before. You had been, you had experienced some level of buoyancy or some idea at some natural level. He's never seen more water than fits in a canteen before, for the most part. They don't have standing water in the Badlands where he lives.
And we'd established at some point before that Lumo couldn't swim, like maybe when we were on the ship or something. I don't remember exactly when, but it was something like that. Because I remember that being a thing before.
Yeah, when we were, it was actually when we were fighting in the Smuggler's Cove.
I went to jump at a dude, and then I didn't.
Yeah, he did a, was it horizontal bars kind of thing or whatever, and you were like spinning around using your staff as horizontal bars between the dock and the boat, and then you jumped in, and it was like, oh shit, and then he just sank. He's like, this is not a good experience. Yeah, so yeah, always interesting.
All right, so with my potion.
Yeah, you're at no risk of drowning, but you do begin to sink.
Yeah. Can I fling some light bolts to maybe see where I can get that rod?
Okay. Yeah. See if you can get some flash of light. Yeah, see if you like a little. It's like a little mini flare to kind of illuminate the direct area around you. Okay, sure. Yeah, toss them in a couple directions, and then roll a perception check. So directly beneath you and off to the side by just a couple of feet, you see as bolt streaks by, you can see the rod falling down below. But as as it streaks down, you haven't seen the bottom yet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna continue doing nothing and sinking with the rod.
Okay.
If you see Cthulhu, you've gone too far.
Yeah. So one thing, I don't know if I mentioned it completely, but when his body collapsed in his robe, like the drawing of energy into the rod, like his body almost dissolved and looked like water rushing into the rod itself.
Ooh.
Alright, this one's gonna come around you. Slamming into you from both sides with a similar style of attack as the last one. And Steen is up.
All right.
Get in the
Podcast.
game.
Yeah. I'm getting there. Walk past car, relieve it, go through the tentacles I was going to attempt to do. Oh, yeah. Staring at the water animal like, fuck.
It's like you're kind of charging forward down the hallway,
Yeah.
like you're going to bracing yourself, like you're going to burst through the tentacles as they kind of dissolve in front of you as you just kind of burst by car, like, what?
Okay.
What?
Whoosh.
Where did that go?
And just keep on trucking.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And I'm going to toss my torch away, too, before I get in the fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're going to kind of toss it off to the side.
Yep. Like a flick, yeah. More like towards the wall, just with a flick to the right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and so yeah, then as you kind of charge in, you see, just in time as you see this water elemental kind of wrap around Izzy, smashing into her. As you kind of come charging in, the other kind of moves off in your direction, slamming, swarming around you as well. You take a deep breath just as it kind of comes over you. And the next round, Izzy, you're up first.
Damn, I'm last. I'm like last first.
Very polarized.
Yeah. Well, it's easy for me because I'm consistent.
Okay, I want to swim out of it again.
Okay, yeah. So
And then I'm gonna... Yeah, thank you. And then I'm gonna slash at it with my cutlass.
Okay, sure. Oh!
Boo. And I'm hurt, so I'm gonna run for car.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna draw my dagger with my offhand since that's free now, and slash at this elemental here on my way by.
One surrounding Steen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I can get my disengage on that one too.
Mm-hmm. You notice it's somewhat amorphous form. It's precariously close to that wall, so probably not a bad idea.
Okay, this is kind of an odd situation for this one.
You mean for a sneak attack?
Yeah, is Steen considered threatening it, or is he considered?
Yeah, he's still threatening it on the inside, although
Okay.
perhaps not as effectively as being on the outside.
So should I get the sneak attack or no?
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not restrained and incapacitated. He's not incapacitated in there. He's just sluggish in movement. So, like, attacks from the inside have disadvantage unless they're like thrusting kind of attacks, for the most part.
Yeah, I'm threatening with
Okay.
all the grime built up on our journey.
That's about as far as I can get with my reduced movement then, I think.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I see that Izzy is hurt, and I say, "Oh no!"
So you use your bonus action to cast Healing Word. Okay. Were you going to do anything else on your turn?
Bijou is tired.
Alright, I'm gonna see. Is he gonna follow you, or is he going to go for the double team? No man grab. Icons are in the way. Okay, so you see, it kind of squeeze and change as it rushes much faster than you really expected. I mean, it outpaces you by a large amount of speed as it goes chasing off down back to the hallway. And it envelops Bijou and Car. You kind of see as this like wall of water, like it forms waves and images as it's traversing very quickly right at you, and you have just a moment to raise a hand and take a deep breath as the wave itself just crashes up against you and just surrounds and engulfs the two of you. I need you to both make strength saving throws. Wow, that's actually pretty damn good.
Blah, 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 blah.
It's a quite dissimilar experience from Izzy. who still had the ability to kind of freely move, you can feel as the water begins to become more viscous as it attempts to actually effectively grapple and hold on to you inside of its body. But both of you are able to kind of, move your arms enough to kind of gain some purchase to the outside, so you're still kind of engulfed and surrounded, and you're able to you can't quite take a breath inside of it yet, but you definitely feel as though you can still move. You're not restrained or grappled by the water elemental's attempt to hold on to you. And our rock is up, sinking.
Okay, so how far away did I think the rod was from me when I was flashing my lights?
It's probably maybe 10 feet or so below you, as it's had a little bit more time to drop than you have. Also has a little less resistance because it's just a slender rod. And it's sinking faster than you are.
Okay, well, in that case, I want to bust out my decanter of endless water
Okay.
and jet propel myself to the rod.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let's do... I like it. So we got to go for some aim here. So I think the closest thing to aim is going to be Dex. So hit me a Dex check as you try to Iron Man yourself over to the rod. And a lot like the movie The Martian, when he tries to Iron Man at it, it's a little squirrely because you're holding on to this blasting jug of rocket. Trying to burst your way through the water, and the water's pushing against you, and it's a little bananas. Okay, so let's see if you make it. So that's close. That's close to auto success. Oh no, I rolled a 4 on a D100. So you zip right beside it as you see the rod. The little bit of the jet stream kind of pushes it further away from you this turn. Although your aim was pretty decent. I mean, it was pretty close, but it was just off enough that the jet stream moved the actual rod itself. You're still separated by just a little bit. Did not anticipate
The power.
Now I'm thinking like we give him
Jug is-
all of our water things, and 2 to his feet, 2 to his hand, and 1 on his back, and we just make a super Lumo.
Who would have known that for Lumo, the jug of endless water would be the most powerful magic item in the game as we as we progress. Okay.
Would I be able to use my Ring of Arcane Mastery on this turn as well?
Yeah. You only used an action to grab your jug and activate it. Movement to kind of try to steer and direct yourself.
All right, let's use that final charge to get myself hasted then.
Okay. You are hasted.
All right.
So technically giving you a hasted action, although those are
For attack only, I think.
those are pretty limited, yeah, for the actual haste.
This action can be used to take the dash, disengage, hide, or use an object. It can be used to use an okay. I want to.
Oh my god! Right,
Surprise!
double rocket boosting, 2-stage rocket now.
So, how did your friend die? Well, he propelled himself deeper into the water.
To infinity and beyond.
Yes.
Oh Christ!
Let's do this.
All right, activate an object. So you're not gonna have a lot of luck steering on this turn, but you can definitely blast yourself like point and shoot, and then that's all you got as far as that goes. So go ahead and roll me a dex check to see where you're.
Oh, why did it roll twice? Oh yeah, because that was dex save. Whoops. Okay. Hasting advantage of that thing.
Oh yeah, it was because it was a save instead of a check. Yeah, I think across the board. I mean, you're quite dexterous. You'd have to roll. I think fairly low for that not to be pretty decent. Although you're after this turn, we're to say that visibility, your flares that you'd shot aren't really giving you much in terms of visibility anymore. So you're kind of swimming around like you're literally aiming around in the dark, trying to blindly grab, trying to run into the rod. Okay, so like as
this
it
is now
shoots you
me
across,
for like the rest of my turns.
just must fun. This time you propel yourself, and you feel something kind of bounce off of you, kind of right at the end of your thrust. So it's person of many hands. You feel like it's just like right there that just bounced off of you, but you're gonna have to blindly reach out and try to get it next go around. Okay, let's see here. Water elemental. I got all cut up in water sports. Let's see. I'll read this delay one more time. You can see as some of the water recedes away from you, Steen. You can take a quick breath as some of the water starts to try to lash onto you and become viscous. A portion of it also lashes out off to the side, trying to latch onto Izzy at the same time. I need you to both make strength saving throws.
Good answer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wait. Are you on your side or our side?
It's on the story side, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not on any. I'm on my side. But it still just looks cool. And so as they each try to grab onto you, so also something I didn't read just a little bit ago. So Car and Bijou, as it starts to solidify, not only are you able to kind of find that purchase, it actually, you're kind of like squeezed out a little on the side.
You just shat out a couple adventurers.
The same happens here.
Slip and slide.
As it becomes viscous, you can see it grab, you can feel it grab and trying to pull you towards its center. But as it becomes thick, you kind of wiggle your way out and push up against it, such that the little bit of purchase that it was able to get on you instead squeezes you, and you get shot out the side. Steve.
He set you up for advantage. How nice of him. Someone that's a he.
Yeah, hit the button, Wolfen.
Yay. Bonus action, undo my shields.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And green flame blade.
Getting angry. Alrighty. Green flame blade with advantage because of your. Well, it doesn't matter. And roll again just to see if you
Yeah.
would a crit instead of the other kind of crit. Okay, yeah.
And why not? Boom. And that's
Alright.
it.
So you used your bonus action already? Yep.
Yep.
Looks good to me. All right, Carl.
Disengage. I charge from my crown,
Ooh, yes.
Ooh.
and I cure wounds level 3.
Okay, so that'll use 4. Wait, so 3 would be 4 charges then? Because it's 1 plus spell level for charges.
Oh, is that how it works? So okay, I use 4 charges.
But I feel much better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my move.
Yeah, that makes a significant difference. As you can see, she kind of gets pushed out of the inside of the watermelon or shoved against the wall. She kind of slumps a little bit as she was starting to get a little haggard. As the thing has been beating up on her pretty good. And your turn again. What is the
I just made that mental note. I was about to say, prepare for 2 turns. Ugh.
Okay. Damn. Okay, one quick thing about this crown.
Okay, sure.
What if I use it for a cantrip?
It's 1 plus. Cantrips are technically level 0. So you can, in fact, burn a charge and cast a cantrip. It just takes one charge to cast a cantrip.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, yeah. And it fails.
Nice.
Sacred flame. Yoga.
Yeah, I was too busy thinking of all like the OP ways to use that crown, and didn't really until like now it just hit me. It's like, why don't I use it how they probably intended to use these things, like disengage spell. Earlier I was going to dash and heal, but so that's actually I'm liking this thing.
Yeah, as I say, we're kind of under. It was my perception that we were undervaluing its usefulness, but now that you've recognized that, at least, yeah, that's very powerful to be able to use an action for something else, even if it isn't another spell. Granted, it does let you cast 2 spells, but yeah.
Okay, so I've seen these guys hit them with their swords and whatnot, so I'm gonna pull out my rapier and try and hit him with it.
Okay.
I mean, I am kind of backed against the wall.
I was just splashing around.
So one thing you notice is, it doesn't bleed like a normal thing. When you stab it, it doesn't stab kind of like a normal thing. It is still, at its very core, actually water. But it does seem to react to the blade. It just doesn't seem like it has quite the normal effect as a regular, as it would against a regular target.
I just quickly flash a grateful smile at Carr and then lay into this thing with my weapons.
With advantage. Ooh, that's nice.
Oh, that's a lot of ones.
You just had a huge sneak attack last time too.
I know.
Yeah, the one that killed the actual caster was like a whole bunch of 6s.
Yeah, that's true.
I was actually kind of hoping that he'd get to do one thing just because of the cool ability before he died.
No.
He got to make tentacles.
It wouldn't have
elementals.
wouldn't have been. Actually, he didn't make the elementals.
I was hoping Lumo was going to grab the thing, shake it, and the elementals were going to disappear.
I was really thinking about going the rod the first time, but caster, wing finger wagger, dies.
Yeah. It like you definitely notice that this one is not as it just not your high quality finger wagger when it comes to at least it didn't seem so. Wasn't prepared, didn't have things like mirror image or even mage armor on, which he actually has both of those things on his spell list. Okay, so yeah, I got lost. So as you were kind of pushed up against the edge. No, it's not. It's not actually a strength save. He's not going to do that ability. But you were pushed up against the wall as you struck at it. It kind of retaliates as it like kind of you see it draw back just a little as it comes up and over and try to crash on you as it slams into you. Multiple times it's gonna try, but the second one doesn't hit. Yeah, so this particular water elemental, you can see, it's kind of risen up like has a, trying to take on an almost humanoid form. Now that everyone is surrounded it, you see it kind of collapse into a pool of water. So what was a form then splashes down as a pool of water, and it spreads over. A pretty large space, and then in T1000 or T2000, the liquid metal Terminator style, you see it then draw itself back up out of the pool of water, almost as as it kind of splashes. You see it kind of coalesce together as a giant fist trying to uppercut, coming up out of the pool that it had created.
Oh no. That's really cool, and also I don't like it.
And it's going for the double uppercut. So as one fist kind of comes up one way, another comes up trying to hit Carr at the same time.
A double Hadouken.
Although it was definitely concentrating more on trying to hit Izzy. Alright, Lumo. Just flailing around, trying to. What is that? Falling. We gotta get it. Just roll a straight D100. Just toss a percentile out in the chat and see what happens. Yeah, that's plenty enough. So you had kind of bumped into it and kind of bounced it off just a little bit as you're, flailing around trying to grab a piece. You grab the rod in your hand, and as soon as you do, like a burst of energy kind of comes into you, and you feel as though that now you have, like, for at least this moment in time, some concept of mastery over the element of water around you, and can move through it as though you were running on the ground.
Oh, I can run.
And you can run.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run just tilt myself upwards and start running.
So effectively, you gain a swim speed equal to your movement speed while holding the rod.
100 feet of swim speed. Awesome. All right. I'm running up. Shoo.
Lumo has turned into Aquaman.
You just like a dolphin jumping out of the water, like you just just
Seeing
jump out of
all the
top.
dolphin moves.
Beached whale.
You burst out back to the top of the.
But right before he bursts up, I'd like to look around and say, "Where's Lumo?"
He fell in the water. He can't swim.
And then, like a majestic creature, then just like Lumo is up on the surface of the water. Now, kind of like just standing on top of the water.
Lumo, Christ.
I'm gonna say that you were probably about 40 feet down by the time that that you came up. So you're probably like the end of your just regular movement as you're coming up.
Okay,
So
well,
you still have your hasted action and all kinds of other mess. So
zoom.
So haste to dash, and then action. I'm gonna say that you rolled well enough on the other thing that the flailing and grabbing was part of that movement. You know, as you can draw and stow an item, you know, something in hand. I think that's fair enough. So you still have your regular action still if you'd like to take it.
Okay. Yes, I would. Right. There we go.
Ka-dunk. So, like, it's just a giant fist, and you punch the fist. Directly. And your fist bump, as it hits it, you can see that the water shudders and shies away from the might of your attack.
Freaking water, man. Wait, where's Bijou?
Assumed inside of the second elemental. Interesting. Gonna try to blast him with some flame.
See what happens.
Okay, Bijou, you're surrounded by water. I want you to roll me a D100, that percentile dice.
How do you do that?
So if you right click on the D10 and then click the percent button and just toss it off into chat. Okay. Due to her position on the inside and kind of seeing the flames scorching out of Lumo's hands as he lets loose his thing, she's able to maneuver herself just enough back that the scorching water doesn't actually touch her, doesn't actually hit her, so she's unaffected by that. As far as your targets
Just like a sauna.
Yeah.
Wait,
But my hair's gonna be this big.
We still have Bijou targeted, and not instead of the other elemental.
Oh shit.
Don't kill me, Bob.
Okay, so this makes it awkward. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. We have double water elemental failure. On the one that is directly in front of you, you can see as you blast the fire directly into it, steam begins to well up off the side and kind of dissipate into the air, and it looks like there's a lot less volume to its amorphous body, if you will, in front of you.
Okay, that's all the things I can do. Besides run around in circles.
Green flame blade and a miss.
Oh no!
They get to go again.
But who are you attacking?
Oh, the elemental.
Which one?
7.
So the one that's on Bijou? Okay, I was gonna say the other one you would have got advantage on.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say Bijou.
Right. But yeah, so you got a critical on it though, so it's just a regular attack.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Sad panda. But I got the first crit of the day, so.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wipe them up.
Damn! I think this crit's gonna be a little more impressive than yours.
Ugh!
It's fun.
Man, look at those ones.
You see, as you stab it, this time it kind of, it almost lets out a bit of a wail, even though that there's been like no sound or anything coming to it. But you hear like a little whining sound as it quivers and then boop, and just plops and splashes down, harmless, as a pool of water all around you.
There was enough force I put through that. I just charge right through it and follow through with my dagger on the other elemental.
Oh, okay, yeah. Jousting the water elemental with your cutlass.
Bink. I don't get as many things on that one anymore.
Ting.
Mini fists. This will be my hasted. And we'll just do regular extra.
You hit me?
Oh, son of a bitch, you're underneath
You're
there.
a monster.
Lumo, stop it!
Many of those went into her.
He's just too strong. He's just too strong right through the elemental.
Okay, so I had a
think it was
couple
only-
attacks. I had a couple attacks at her. Okay, that 27 definitely would have hit the water elemental. Would a 17 have hit her? Or hit the water elemental?
Okay, let me back up. Yes. Yeah, it has a 14 AC, so
Okay, so I hit her for that. I guess I need to hit that too.
You did 7, 6.
So 13, and then
24 damage.
I think the others were just to the elemental. I think it's just the 7 and the 6, unless I'm missing something.
5 and a 6 is what I did to her.
I see a 3 plus 4 and a 2 plus 4 that damage to Bijou.
Shit, yeah. So
Those went. The 5 and 6 went to water element. Okay, so minus 13 from Bijou.
and then add 2 damage to the water elemental link. I did the
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
freaking thing.
Corrected.
Okay.
Did you
And-
fix my hit points, Drad? Or do I need to?
Got it. Okay. I thought about having you. It failed. It. I thought about having like as you attack into the water elemental to see if you hit her, but no. Since she's small, I'm gonna say that that's not even possible, or very, very unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was aiming up over everybody's head. Hopefully not near Bijou.
Green flame blade. Oh. Fire.
Also, didn't want to use my sword because I wasn't quite sure how the lightning would affect someone standing in water.
On the inside? Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
I'm essentially just split splashing water around my shields. It's just.
So you see your friends all trying to bash around at this massive water elemental. But you yourself are still on the inside.
Okay, I'm gonna swing at it from the inside.
Okay, do so with disadvantage. Oh, wait, no, you got the rapier, right? It is a rapier, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's go with without disadvantage for rapier.
Just regular?
That's a thrusting weapon. Yeah.
And
but
then
you hit yourself.
Poor Bijou.
You can also you don't necessarily have to use the icons on the map. You can use the ones in the combat tracker as well.
That's what I did.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
would've hit her.
For
Let's just finish this. Bijou, think of your next character.
They're just getting murdered by your team.
oh no.
okay, fixed.
All right, is it difficult for me to try to run out from the water element?
Quite a bit so, especially since it's so much bigger than you. It would probably take most of all your movement just to get to the outside edge.
All right, I want to try that.
Okay. Yeah, so let's just this way.
It's fine.
Yep, right here under the outside edge.
And do I see Luma or Steen first?
Probably Lumo, since he's like halfway inside of it anyway, trying to come at you.
And he's small too, like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I put my arm out on his shoulder and I'm like facing away from the water elemental. And I just like taking a moment, Done being waterboarded.
Catching your breath.
Heaving. Dripping.
You can see as it kind of like uses the wall almost as its own little springboard, as it then comes crashing in around you. All of you feel that pool of it trying to latch onto you and drag you to its inside. Go ahead and hit the save since so many.
I'm gonna redo my save.
Yes, go ahead.
That's what I meant to roll.
Everybody's rolled really well. So just as luckily I'd already rolled for you, so you don't have to do that. Okay.
I just wanted to see what it'd be if I did it myself. And
Better that
Because
I
you did
do
it
it
for
than
me.
you, right?
yeah, from now on.
As the wave of water crashes into you and pulls you back into itself, Bijou. You...
I'd cry, but I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. You get a little squeak as the air is pushed out of the inside of your lungs as it literally squeezes onto you. At the same time, it pulls you back into itself. You're both grappled and restrained on the inside and unable to breathe. And top of the order. Let's see what happens.
Can I sheath my dagger and then try and pull Bijou out? Is that a thing I can do?
You can try.
Yeah, I want to try to get her out of there.
Okay. So you're going to sheath your dagger, still have your cutlass, and you're going to reach in with your other hand and try to get a hold of her.
Yeah, try to pull her out.
Okay, so two things. Let's start with the first. When you start to put your hand in, you do get that same feeling that, like, because it has gotten, that very viscous and thick kind of thing as you try to put your hand into it. I need you to roll a strength check. Okay, good answer.
That's my friend in there!
So, you push with your hand, trying to get your hand onto the inside, so you break that surface tension, kind of move your hand in a little bit. Now I need you to make a dex check with disadvantage. See if you can grab onto her. Okay, still a pretty good answer. You grab onto what feels like Bijou's arm. Okay, so I think that's gonna take your action. So if you want to use your movement to try to pull back, move back. I'm gonna need one more strength check to see if you can pull her out.
Straight strength, or can I use athletics?
Yeah, I think this you'd probably get in a full like rope tug kind of stance and go. So let's go full athletics. I think we can actually get enough of everything else to call it an athletics check. Damn good rolls. Okay, so
If possible, I want to try and pull her so that, like, I'm between her, like, on the way out, spin it so that I'm between her and the elemental. If possible.
I was trying to think. So what would this? So this would be. So normally grabbing someone and pulling them is half movement. So, but pulling someone out of something holding on to them is probably going to be quarter movement. I think that's about the best you can do is like that.
Okay.
That comes from more as like as she pops, like as you get to the edge of her being still, somewhat caught on to the actual elemental itself, as it pulls past that surface tension right on the edge, you kind of more fall back and kind of move her off to the side than you do, physically just kind of push her or drag her around you. It's more of that, the tension let go, and then y'all just kind of stumbled back. And you were able to just kind of drag her off to the side a little bit.
Okay, that works. I just check. I'm like, Bijou, are you okay?
I just breathe. I can't speak.
Breathing's good. I'll set up for breathing.
Oh, wow, okay. So... Alright, well, it got to recharge its ability, so it's going to try to latch on again to whatever else is still in its range, and it's kind of like a last desperate attempt here. This time it's able to grab onto Lumo.
I was gonna say I was gonna let it envelop me anyways.
Okay. Okay, so as it pulls, it'll draw you to the inside of it, and as it pulls you in, you kind of feel like a crushing feeling from the outside, taking 18 points of bludgeoning damage, and are grappled and restrained. Steve.
Gonna get out of the goo.
Oh yeah, you saved, so you're technically pushed out.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were kind of squeezed out a couple of feet out of its body.
Bring Floodblade. Go to ability. I'm effective today. Good thing this is magical fire.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, Bijou.
You can see that the elemental itself has depleted a lot of its masses. There's a lot of water that has kind of hit the ground, splashed and rained around it. Only maybe 50% of its original volume is left. Looking rather weak.
Alright, well, I stand up and I hang on to Izzy. And I heal her.
Okay.
And I don't know if this will do any good, but I mean, she's pretty upset at the moment. So I make fun of the water elemental.
Okay. Is it a vicious mockery?
And I just stay over here, way away from it.
Mocked it although it doesn't seem to understand the words that you're speaking, but at the same time, you can see that it itself still seems to be hurt by the words, even though it doesn't appear to give any indication of knowing what they are. It's just the hate and hurt behind them that hurts it.
Thanks, make me feel bad for hurting the water.
To be fair, it did try to drown you.
A couple times, yeah.
Okay.
Just-
I'm gonna double punch, double kick.
Okay. As you just start, bicycle kicking and like high punch, high punch, high punch. Like it's very Mortal Kombat-esque, going crazy on it from the inside, like a speed bag even.
Oh yeah, I'm also going like this. Hop, 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 hop.
Water.
Yeah, just eat the water elemental. There you go. Drink it. One way to beat it.
As you do, yeah, the final magic holding it together dissipates and falls as it splashes onto the ground into a harmless puddle.
Is he staring at you again a little bit like she did after the vampire fight?
Alright, so that drops those effects. So you're holding on to...
The rod of whatever it is.
The rod of power.
I think technically I called it a wand in its name.
The wand of whatever it is.
And what I actually named it, it is a rod, but I think the name I put in item here. Dang it. If it would go there. Okay, there we go.
The things that Lumo does with water, he should definitely have this wand. I mean, he's earned it.
I've already have 4 ideas for how to use that.
And he gets a swim speed equal his movement speed, so he is, I don't know who a good swimmer is, but yes, he is that person too. These minor elementals, that's an arcane scroll, so I couldn't even really read it right.
No.
I was just going to like point at it and point to Bijou. She's arcane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is assuming I found this here, but this is talking to Bijou. This is something maybe you can read.
The scroll?
Yeah. I can't read it, but I know it's arcane.
I don't
Seen
know.
them.
Can I read it?
I can read it.
Wolfen, you can too?
Mm-hmm.
Do we see that Lumo has this wand, or is he kind of hiding it?
As far as I know, he's still like had it like a baton, like gripped in his hand.
I'm holding it up like Link would whenever he finds a new treasure.
I'd have BG take the scroll though. For sure.
So
It's-
there's some things to point out. It is an arcane spell, but it's not on the bard spell list. So it's hard. Like she can read it, but it is harder for her to be successful. Like it could fizzle because it's not on our spell list.
I don't think it'd be on yours either, would it, Wolfen?
It's a wizard spell, so
It actually is on the Eldritch Knight spell list.
Oh, well,
Oh, is it?
pass it on down.
What level of spell does it say?
It's a spell. It's a level 4 spell.
Okay, so I can't.
So yeah, it's like it's on his spell list, but he can't cast level 4 spells, so it also have a chance to like. So there's a.
Yep.
One of those things.
Do you ever get level 4 spells?
Yes.
It's down.
Someday.
But
Someday.
okay. I would I don't know. You're more in front line. This would be something cool for Bijou to try to cast.
That's
I
what I
think.
figured it'd be for BG. Let me check my spell list. Or my casting levels here. Yeah, I don't get 4th level until level 19.
Oh. Okay. Oh, rainy day, you
I
know.
do have. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
2020, mark it on your calendars, everyone.
Oh yeah, BG, go ahead and take that. You probably also have a higher DC than I do. So for your spell casting.
Well, it's not so much a DC because you're making elementals, right? It's that particular thing would be like it's just whether or not it goes off. That's the
Yeah.
Because either
That's
way,
what
it
it
goes away, right? After once.
yeah. It's a
Yes.
one-time only. Yeah, it's use and it
But-
works or use and it doesn't work. If it's on your spell list and you have the spell level to cast it, it just happens. 100 guaranteed. If it assuming that you know like silenced or whatever, anything that would prevent in an anti-magic zone or whatever, but otherwise it just works. If it's not on your spell list, it's it is a roll to do, and if you don't have the spell slot to do it or the high enough spell level to do it, it's also a roll to do it. So.
I take 2 potions of healing.
Mm-hmm.
2 potions of healing in the inventory as well.
Yeah, in the party inventory.
Izzy should take at least 1. I am
All right.
fairly well tapped out on spells. I have a couple, but it's pretty light.
Very tired. What time of day is it, Drad?
It's kind of hard to tell as far as like actual time of day because we're underground, but you know that we've been at it for several hours since we woke up. So your best guess is midday, but maybe a little after, maybe a little before. We did take a rest. kind of dealt with a couple of things. But aside from that, I mean, that's all we've done. Is we took a short rest and dealt with the Emperor, dealt with the cultists, peeked in at the little crack in the wall.
Ran away.
Ran away. And
Slowly, we can slowly explore north. If I don't know how much more is here. If we were reasonably sure we cleared everything except for a few locked doors and the mist monster.
Well, they said there was another door here. I'm looking to see if I can. How are you doing that? Just watching Luma run across the water.
I heard mentioning the door. I want to look for it too. The investigation.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Investigation.
I did roll for
I
that
see it.
earlier as
Yeah,
well.
I do see. Yeah. Oh, and rolled quite well, as it turns out. You kind of look around. You see that this pool goes down. It's very strange. The construction of this pool is almost like this bit of the pool was kind of cut out straight down, and you can't see any. You can't see the bottom to it. Lumo had gone 40 foot down, unable to see the bottom. It may just be a big well.
If I don't
But you see nothing like a door or anything that would indicate something like that.
But they had said that there was a place in here that they weren't allowed to go to, right?
What?
That was the water room?
They didn't say necessarily in the water. They didn't say in the water room.
Oh, my
yeah,
mistake.
Yeah, not specifically. They probably said past the water room.
I'd still like to take a deep breath and dive down and see if I can find the bottom at all.
Okay, go ahead. So you kind of
Give you another guidance before you go.
Sure.
So yeah, even with your 60 feet of dark vision, I mean, there's still some obscurity to that, so you probably can only see about 30 feet out with the blackness of the pool itself as you go, especially as you go down. You dive down, doing effectively triple movement.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So bonus hand action to dash. So you can, and you've got your swim speed. So you go down 90 feet for a full round. You don't see the bottom. It's only 6 seconds, so I mean you can go. One round is not a lot of time underwater. How long would you be willing to go down if I told you that it just was you didn't see the bottom?
I would. I mean, I wouldn't stay down long enough that I would drown.
Well, right, yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to remember what the rule is for like how long you can hold your breath. Wasn't it like a minute plus your Constitution bonus in minutes or something? So like.
Yeah, something like that.
So like I could go down for 2 minutes. So I'll swim down for 1 minute, so I have another minute on the way back up.
Okay, so you're going to spend effectively 10 rounds going, like, so you would go as much as 10 rounds. That's all I was. So
Yeah. No more than that.
Okay, so that was just kind of what I was trying to judge, was like how long. So, yeah, then you swim down and down and down for a good bit of time. It isn't quite a minute, but it's close. It's actually quite close. That as you kind of reach at the edge of your vision, you can just see where the smooth, like almost bored out hole that goes straight down. It stays the same width, which is in itself an oddity. As it goes straight all the way down to the bottom, you finally see some stone across the bottom where it ends. several hundred feet down.
Oh, that's a lot. Just stone on the bottom. I don't see anything of interest.
You can roll investigation while you're down there.
Just say to Luma, no, just not prepared. The dawn was the only thing I had, but I can't cast that again.
At the bottom of this particular, you kind of scope around. You see a bunch of a handful of dull colored coins, scattered all across the bottom of the stone.
Like a wishing well?
It's probably probably a good inference. It doesn't look like you're not seeing any like you're not seeing any gold, or that anything like that. As you look down here, it looks like copper, or even maybe electrum pieces.
If I'm close enough, I'll pick one up, but I'm not going to spend too much time down here. Otherwise, just head back up.
You grab one at random. Okay, and pick up a copper piece.
Woohoo! Yeah, and then I head back up.
Okay, so I'll look back to the top and see nothing at the side. So yeah, it looks like after your investigation to the bottom, this is an extremely deep, maybe for a long-term water supply in the middle of the desert or something, bored out by some means, just a giant well of water.
Carr is just up top, kind of counting in his head.
Yeah, and then she swims back to the top and kind of pops out and takes a big deep breath. It wasn't quite the absolute max to begin drowning, but it was pushing the edge of her breath-holding ability.
Help her out of the water.
I'll take his help, and I'm just going like, I hit the bottom, but there's not much down there. I just hold up the copper piece. Got somebody's wish, though.
So when you hold that up, let's see, a couple people here, but everybody over here make a perception check. Let's just take a look.
Everybody by the water?
Yeah, over here by the water.
Yeah,
Me too.
I'm standing guard.
Well, no, it's actually about the coin. No, yeah, you
Oh,
ahead and
okay.
see it. Go ahead and see it too, because you're gonna now get a chance to look at the coin. So Carr, this coin, it looks kind of dull, and it definitely looks aged and pitted, like it's been under water for a really long time. It's even kind of coated in, a little bit of muck, from, even though the water, even though it's really dark because of the circumstances, the water seemed very pristine, like it's very fresh water in that regard. But like there wasn't even dirt, there wasn't sludge, dirt, slime. You didn't see that there, but there's still a little bit of muck coating the coin. And as you kind of, clear off a little bit of the face of the coin, you don't recognize the stamp of this coin at all. Neither you nor Carr can see the coin. Like you can see it really well, and you kind of look at it like, wait a minute. The metal looks a little different than copper coins that are made now, and the stamp on it, no clue. You've never seen that before. No nationality, no anything that you've seen before. does that even close to resemble at all? Lumo, you've got a pretty good idea. You kind of get a bit of flash of memory from the distant past, as that coin looks like a stamp of a coin from your original homeland.
So that coin is either very old or from a place very far from here. I don't recognize it at all.
I kind of take a look at it. It's a little dirty, so I try to like wipe it off with my sleeve, but it doesn't really look like anything more clear to me after that. But if Lumo seems interested, I'll hold it out for him.
When she holds it out, I'm gonna, with my hand, I'm gonna try and grab her hand as well, just to.
My hand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like drags it right out to his eyeball.
Izzy's a little bit surprised at that, but she doesn't protest.
Trying to do palm reading.
Can I have this?
Sure, I guess. It's just a copper.
Yeah. I'd just really like it.
It's yours then.
I'm gonna slide my hand up to her fingertips and snatch the coin.
All right. Yep. So Lumo has a special coin. To anybody else, it's just a copper, but to Lumo has that recognition. Maybe something else.
It's an arcade token game. I know it.
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese token. And with that, let's go ahead and take our break. Let's come back on the hour, and then so give us a good 30 minutes so I can grab a bite to eat, and then we'll do it. Then we'll move on from here.
Sounds good.